Hello, everybody. See, Ern's here. 20-year-old cat. That's no small feat. 20-year-old cat. My aunt has a couple of them that live that long. She's actually got one coming up on that now. I think it's 18 years old again. That's good. Um, some of hers were temperamental. Didn't like everybody. They always liked me, so that made me happy. Hey, Tabitha. How are you doing today, Tabitha? Speaking of animals, uh, yeah. I just realized I forgot to take my medication. It's okay. I can take it after. It's not a problem. But um, yeah, today's topic I wanted to talk about was living, not just living in a moment, but actually enjoying the moment. It actually came across the other day. I got a little, you know how you get the little ads and stuff, and they actually were talking about it in there. And I read a little bit of it, and it actually seemed like an interesting article. I didn't save it because it was in my feed and I couldn't find it. So I apologize for that. Otherwise, I'd put it in the chat to share. But it just talks about living in the positive moments, celebrating them, kind of like what we've been talking about lately, anyway. For in your case, or I'm having a 20-year-old cat. You know, that's a lot of time to spend with the cat, and if she's friendly to you and has been there for you for that many years, it might be a very important thing for you to remember and live in that moment. Spend that time with her, especially considering she's 20 years old. As we were talking about with Tabitha, animals don't live forever. And as much as we'd love it to happen, because I know it doesn't just bother me when I lose my animals, but it bothers others as well. And, it's not because there's something wrong with them, it's quite often just because they don't live as long as we do. And they become family over time. Nightbots, welcome you guys. Um, oh, I just realized I'm in top chat. That explains a little bit. I thought it looked a little weird. All right, there we go. That's better. Well, I had this better in my mind ahead of time, but then I got distracted by Ooh Shinies myself. Like, the reason I put this up in the background behind me, the picture with the mixing stuff. This is one I use for my mixing background when I'm doing any of the mixing shows or anything. Is because that for me has been one of those moments lately. Whenever I'm mixing and creating something, it's kind of given me those moments of not just happiness, but of feeling accomplished, like I'm doing something that I never would have thought I'd be doing. I'm okay. KVTV Clown has been mentioning it a lot lately, picking on me about it, about the fact of like 6 months ago I wouldn't even touch it practically mixing, and then now I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And then you got people like Addy, who hasn't been here yet, but oh my God, it's like I summoned him. There he is. I was about to give you a shout out, Addy, and say, the other day he shared a picture with me, and those moments, those mean everything to me. He shared a picture with me of an older moment of him hanging out with Nick and a few other people, and it's just I see the picture, I see how happy they are, and it hit me in the feels, and it made me have that happy moment. Even though I wasn't involved in that moment, it still made me feel because I care about the people that were in the picture and seeing their smiles, and back when they a little more carefree back when those pictures were taken. We've had a lot of serious moments since then. Hi, Nate. Yeah, it's those mini moments. And sometimes if you don't have those moments, oh, sorry about that. We have some flies coming in from outside now that spring and the garden's going and everything. So I apologize if you see any. Or got fly. I gotta get some more fly spray, the automatic stuff. And yeah, joys of living on a farm. My two 18-year-old cats have been smothering me. See, it's animals. I'm telling you, that's one of them. But people, and you can create your own moment by doing exactly what it says in the pinned comment, reaching out to those people that might be in need. You'd be surprised how much that can make your moment when you're not feeling well yourself. If you're feeling really down, if you have it in you to just push yourself beyond it just a little bit and reach out to somebody, And they don't even necessarily have to respond, but you see a change in them because all of a sudden they're starting to talk a little bit, or they just respond with "thank you very much." If they haven't talked to anybody in days, that is a big thing, and it should make you feel good. You can create those moments on occasion just simply by helping someone else. You can help yourself, and that's what I want to celebrate today. We're still on a celebration and discussion of, not only helping yourself, but helping yourself during others and living in the moment, not in the past, not in the future, and try to not focus on the negativities that are going to be there regardless of anything else. If you can break that feeling of looking into that negativity or whatever you are really stressed about, a lot of times that'll lighten up clear your focus. It'll open your mind up, get rid of that fog, and you can think clearer and you can come up with answers you wouldn't have been able to do if you're right in it and stuck on that negative moment. So try to celebrate the positive moments as they're there. They'll never happen again. You might get a similar moment in the future that's maybe even feels identical, but it'll never be that moment again. Life doesn't stop, it continues and it evolves. In order to live the life to its fullest, we have to live in those positive moments as they hit us, as they happen. Oh yeah, last night fly swatter, that was fun. Yeah, I did really good. Victory dances. Yep. I need to get one of those. Addie, I need. Have you ever tried one of those salt guns they have for the flies? I'm thinking about getting one. She says I'll ruin my TV, but we'll see. Hey Jake, how you doing? Now, moments. There's another one. Whenever Jake posts one of his pictures, I vicariously live through that moment because I enjoy seeing what he's created. When Addie does one of his K funds or one of his mixes or something like that, or fresh or anything, seeing this happen, my friends are creating stuff. You got Ashton, creating his works of art on with coloring stuff. Addie just, if you haven't seen it, Addie has one he hasn't got coded not long ago for by Austin, and it's gorgeous. And these things, we celebrate them every moment, every little
Ashton.
achievement. What?
Ashton, not Austin.
Did I say Austin? I did. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Ashton. Well, there's that song Austin, but that's a totally different thing. Yeah, sorry about that. Brain fart. I was just thinking about trying to picture that in my head because I think that has a Twisted Messes topper on it, but it's color matched to the to his mech mod. And Jake, the stuff he's been doing lately has been really intricate, and I know that just the other night, it was last night, night before, Nick and Sam were doing the stream. Bogan and Grim Green were doing that stream, and they were talking about Jake's Imperial mod that he made for Nick, and I hope that gave Jake that feeling that it should have given him to be proud of not only the creation he made, but of the fact that everybody's noticed and everybody really loves it. It's become kind of an iconic mod, and it's been in his rotation since it's been there. And that should give you some of that internal feeling. When you're having a rough day, try to remember those too. I mean, live in the good moments, but also hold on to them as much detail as you can, like we were talking about last week. These things all kind of tie together, but it's different ways of bringing to the fold of the positivity you need in your life. Yeah, I'm actually afraid of that too, Jake. Not because of your lack of ability to build it, but if he ever drops that or anything, he's gonna be so upset. And it's not like you can totally replace it. You could make one similar, but it won't be exactly that one. That's the one downside to having someone that creates something, a unique piece of art, is you'll never get exactly the same thing again. Thank you, Eddie. And yeah, the Discord's there if anyone does have any issues or is dealing with anything, whether it's on live or on replay. You know, go to the Discord and ask for help, or just let them know you need to talk. You don't even have to go into detail about what it is. Sometimes you can talk about a random thing that'll just, like we're talking about now, excuse me, that'll bring out the positivity instead of worried about what's going on in your life. Sidetrack yourself, distract yourself, or have someone else do that with you. Talk about music is a great topic. You can, I mean, almost anybody can get down the music talk path. If you can find someone who has similar taste in music or has a wide open taste in music, you can talk for hours and hours and hours and forget about your worries. Especially there's a music room in the Discord. You guys can, if you need to figure out how to run it, just ask how to run Groovy and put it in the channel so you can listen to live music while you guys are talking, or just sit there and listen to live music in a group together. It can be a great night. I've done it with Angela Garrity a few times, and Duchess Coils too. Just sit in there, listen to some music, and just chill, live as well. And you do that. By the time you're done with the night, you might not feel like fixed. You might not feel fixed, but you will feel more relaxed and maybe more capable of thinking clearer, or maybe get a little sleep so you can think clearer the next day. Because quite often that's a good wind down period. You just hang out with people. Lately, I've been doing a little bit of that as much as I can with when Meter's in there, with when Meter and Lumi are in, and we'll talk like until the late hours of the night and just talk about random topics. And before I'm done with the night, I feel like my anxieties of the day are melted away. And if it's a fight night and you get talking about it, or if you talk to like Squidly about races. Yeah, see there. Yeah, I remember that. I have seen that. Yeah, sharing music back and forth with Patrick Conquest lately, and it's been really nice. I went and I was stressed out because when the car broke down, AAA had it towed back to the house. AAA, and I wound up riding back with the guy, and he actually had similar taste in music to what I usually listen to, which was great because we actually got to talk about it. So it kind of alleviated some of the stress of having the car break down. Oh, Spaghetti Tacos. Unofficial sponsor. Unofficial as in they're not a sponsor. It doesn't really exist, but Derek loves them. So for all your spaghetti taco needs, hit up Derek. Yeah, that's it's important that we stay in the positive and in the moment. Don't live in your head in the future and worry about the future too far and too hard, so you're blinded to everything else, including it, and the possibilities of maybe changing what you're worried about. It happens so often that people get so absorbed in worrying about something that's coming that they forget it might not be the way they're expecting, or they might just not have the ability to think outside the box. And each and every day we go through these things, the better you get at doing it, the better you get at being a positive person. There's a lot of work in making coils lately. I made, tricore fuse Claptons last night. See, that's another thing I'm starting to work on myself. I'm getting ready to retry making aliens. We did figure it out after I had another one of those long nights where you hang out with your friends. It was in with Duchess and in with Clown for a long time. Like, it was daylight by the time we got off Zoom. But we were talking after, I think it was Saturday night show. And we were talking to the wee hours of the morning and figured out what I'm doing wrong. I have a Ryobi drill, and it had, similar one, exactly the same one that Nick Grim Green was using the other day to make his Claptons. But when you're trying to make, both of mine have like a hair trigger to it where it gets a certain point and then it'll jump. And when that jumps, that's when I lose my wire when I try to make aliens, and it causes kinks. And so quite often it'll jerk it out of my hand and just start to tear my hand up because I lost the grip on the wire. And it's because of that certain point. So I'm going to try a slower, cheaper drill at first to see if I can get the feel, and maybe I'll get one with a little bit smoother trigger pull. Whoa, what's going on here? I see stomping in the ground of Derek. What Derek do? Derek didn't do it.
He said he was gonna come back Saturday so he can up his numbers. So I said I was gonna stomp y'all into the ground Saturday.
Yeah, we'll do another game weekend. It's been going really well. People have been feeling better. If you hear it on replay, Saturday night, it's going to be another game night this week. Just going to kind of relax and keep that good vibe feeling going for a little while. If anybody has any topics that they want to discuss or they feel need to be discussed, or they know someone else that they think needs to hear it, we can always bring up a topic. We can change it. We can even change it midstream in a game stream if necessary, if someone's in need. Because that's the way I want to run the channel, is so that everybody gets what they need when they need it. At the same time, gets a little bit of time to back off, get out of their own head, and be able to be more positive for themselves. I know I keep talking positivity, but it's something we're lacking. This world has not been positive for over a year, and for the most part, and we need to bring back not only what we have lost in the past year, but what we've lost over the past few decades. There are so many things that I've watched in the news and seen over the past few decades, and just hearing the way people talk. It's one of the reasons why we call them Karens. Sorry if your name's Karen. But that's actually gotten bad to the point where they can mention something, work it up, get it so worked up in the news and to the politicians that it becomes something that they create laws to control things that really are just common sense, should be controlled within a family. Good parenting would do 90% of what they're trying to make laws to do. Especially when they put laws on adults to protect children from stuff that's already illegal for the children. That's insane. And more positivity can bring forth a renewal of that, and maybe push a little bit back toward these Karens with positivity and get them out of their own heads themselves, because I feel like they get so worked up and so focused on these narrow little negativities that they can't focus on what's reality. They focus on just what the reality they see. They got their blinders on. They only see what they want to fight, and they're not seeing anything outside of that. As we go through life each and every day and we become more positive people, that spreads. I have seen it in the community. Who hasn't talked to Addie in a chat and got to know Addie a little bit, and then becomes happier and have just a little bit better stability in their own life just for knowing him? That's why I bring him up. He's one of the staples. He's one of those people that's in most chats. You get there and you feel better just for saying hi to him. Or if he reaches out the first time he ever mentions you in a chat, that gives you that, oh, that feels good. That type of feeling. And he's just there. Almost always a moderator, but he's there. And he's just, the only time he's going to moderate if something really goes bad. If something's going really south, then he'll step in. But he's not going to moderate and kick someone out randomly because he feels something himself. He's going to make sure that it's because it doesn't belong where it's at. Yeah, a beautiful planet in an ugly world, Nate. Very, very true. And we can bring back that beauty. It's still here. Go outside. I've been outside for the past week a lot, even though it's been hot. I've been working on a bike, which I absolutely forgot how much I love working on motorcycles. I really did. I forgot how much I love to tinker with them. And doing that and being outside so much this past couple weeks in this nice sunny weather, we've had some rain, but we needed that. It brings me to a better state of mind. And then I get in chats, and Addie's almost always there. And we have the community. I've seen some people that were in trouble. I've seen people help each other, and I've been able to help a few times this past couple weeks. And plus, I've been taking care of the I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's not really a better term to say in special needs guys because they do have special needs. I don't like to call them anything else, but they do have special needs I have to help them take care of. And I'm starting to do that. Like, I'm going to be doing it again this Saturday during the day. So I won't, if I make Fresh's show, it'll be while I'm over there. But to do that and give back directly to the community, not just through the internet, not just through social media, but to be able to directly feel that I've impacted the world in a more positive way, hits me inside, and makes me feel better, and then I make better decisions. It opens my minds up to things that I usually ignore and never bother with. A little creativity kicks in, and it's been a really, really good ride. It started last spring, more than ever, when I started putting lives on this channel. And it has grown to something that I just cannot, even for the life of me, believe that I lived without. I cannot believe I lived without you, everyone in this chat. I can't believe that you weren't a part of my life before you were, because I can't imagine my life without you at this point, without it being negative. It would bother me. It would hurt me. And that tells me that this world is going in the right direction. One moment, I'm reading. Okay. All right. That's reading Ern's comment. We'll just leave that alone. But no, I'm glad that, I got to pick up M&Ms for the guys. Yeah, they do love M&Ms. And that's kind of one of those things. It's like a treat that I get when they're having a good day, and it makes them happy. And another thing, smiles are contagious. I can tell you that when I take care of the guys, if I'm not smiling, even if I had to fake it, which I don't usually have to with those guys around, but smiling makes them smile, makes them happy. And that's on the simplest of terms. Now imagine if you could manage that in a global scale. Smile and be a positive influence in person. By being a positive influence, it might just be just not being a negative one. Doesn't mean you have to be necessarily agreeable. Agreeable is not necessarily the definition of positive. Positive is just, hey, have you thought about it this way? But do it with a smile on your face. Say it nicely. Keep the attitude down. I know sometimes you have to. It takes some energy to keep that attitude down if we're angry about something. If someone's trying to take away your right to something, a choice, or take away your right to a, harm reduction alternative, as most of us in here know what I'm talking about. It's hard. It's hard to hold back and suppress the anger part. But if you can, you're going to be received better, and that positivity is more likely to make them think, hey, maybe I should look into this a little more. Or, if they hear you and actually listen to you and you're telling your story, in that moment, being honest to them is one of those moments that they will feel, and they will live in that moment because you are kind of creating your own empathy. Same when you reach out to someone who might be struggling. You're creating an empathy, a positive empathy. When you do that, it's contagious. We can make this world better, one person at a time, one good deed at a time, one moment at a time. Mike was really good at that. And speaking of this, I believe it's Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong, Addie, but this Saturday they're going to be doing some more on Fresh03's channel. They are going to try and raise the last $600 by doing mixes and other things to hit the goal for Mike's fundraiser. And we're only $600 short. That's extremely close. Hit the goal for his family, because the bills are piled up, and they could definitely use the money to help alleviate some of the financial stress on top of the stress of losing a loved one and a caregiver. He was the one that took care of people, and he was always a positive member of our society. He's always the one that would be the first one to step in if two people weren't getting along to try and get them to get along. And if you don't like to be more like Addie, there's a be like Mike thing. I remember there used to be a commercial. Mikey likes it. Be like Mike. But in this case, Mike, aka the vaping trucker. And yeah, he was actually a very good, positive member of the society. And I think we could honor his memory by being more positive and living more in the moment. As quickly as things changed for him, this is not meant to be a scare tactic. This is not where I want you to go. I don't want you to get worried. But at the same time, live life to the fullest at the moment, because you never know. Tomorrow is never promised. Having lost people very close to me, I know that. And it helped me to become better at living in the moment. There it is, the GoFundMe right there. Addie just posted it. We're really close. You don't have to donate just for the show. You can donate anytime. $5, $10 will add up. With only $600 to go, $5 or $10 puts it closer and closer. You only need 60 people to give $10, and we're all done. We hit it. Thank you for the freshest show. Yes, this Saturday. Definitely go check that out. It's going to be a good show. If anyone's into DIY or be thinking about DIY, it's a great time to learn something and maybe get a special recipe made for you. Memento mori is more than just a saying. It should be a way of, treat others as if you want them to treat you. Not necessarily the way that you expect them to treat you, but treat others the way you want to be treated yourself. Treat others with positivity. You go to your lawmakers and you're emailing them, talking to them, however you're interacting with them, going to a hearing. If you're negative to them, think about it. What happens to you? Are you one of those people like me that shuts down when you get talked to in a negative way, and you just pretty much block everything that person says? In fact, if they say too much and get you too angry, you'll block anyone else that says something about that subject. Whereas if you're a positive person in the situation, they'll listen to you. You might have to break down some walls from the last person who didn't stay positive. We don't know what other people you haven't walked a mile in the other person's shoes. You don't know what their mindset is. There might be a reason they're opposing something. It might be as simple as someone was just a jerk and tried to push it in the wrong way. Maybe that's why they have such a strong stance against what you believe in. It could be as simple as being calm and talking them through it and breaking down some of those walls they built up because of someone else and their rude fashion of dealing with it. Every day we can become better. Every day we can become better humans. Although he didn't do it this past week, Breeze Tones has been doing this motivational speaking thing, but he was worried about it because he tried to be motivational speaking to his mother, I guess, and it didn't work out well. It's never stop trying to be positive. There's no reason for that. If it's ill-received, apologize, say I didn't mean to do that, and that's as best you can do. Don't push it to the point where and this is hard, especially if you're trying to help somebody, pushing to the point where you are getting pushed back. Trying to force, even if you, for the best intentions, you've tried to force something on someone and they don't want it, don't want what you're pushing, they're going to push back. And that can be as simple as they just need some time to comprehend what's going on in their life. Maybe they're going through some kind of crisis, and although you want to help, maybe they're not ready for you to help. Maybe they're trying to figure a little bit out on their own, but make sure and let them know you are there when they need you. Don't make yourself forced needed, because then you're not going to get the best results. If you're forcing yourself into a situation, that's when they'll shut you out. Even if not intentionally, part of their mind will shut you out. And I know a few of you probably understand that I've tried to be that way towards you in chat. There's a few of you in chat that I know I've dealt with that way. I'm there, but I'm there when you're ready for me to talk to you. not forcefully. You do it when you are ready, and that's the way it should be. And that's hard. So one of the things that, as a counselor, was not a popular opinion about with some of the other counselors where I worked. They actually thought the opposite. They thought, "Oh, I gotta fix this." It's like, you're not going to get anywhere. They're just going to be back with the same problem or worse problem in a short period of time because you forced the issue. They gotta want it. They gotta know what they're getting into, and they gotta make that conscious decision on their own if you want it to be a lasting impression. And it goes with life too. Now, that said, if someone's really extremely suicidal, that does not mean pull or not to hold in as much as you can. Light bearer, it's good to see you, brother. It's been a while. Every day is a new day. You need to have, exactly. Make memories. Make your memories, and make your memories each moment, every moment. Never give up on making memories all day, every day. We should never, ever give up on your dreams unless the dreams are no longer your dreams. It doesn't mean you gotta throw away your entire life to try and get there. I mean, it might be even the dreams that you know will probably never happen doesn't mean you say they'll never happen. You just think, that's not my priority. But hey, I want that to happen still. Yeah. Addie's been asking about you lately, Lightbear. So there you are. There he is, Addie. So yeah, it's good to see you. Can't tell you how much. I mean, that's it. When you see someone you haven't seen in a while, but you've been worried about them a little bit because they're going through something. I know this just might be a life change. It might just be getting busy, whatever. Seeing John back here tonight, it just made my night right there. And that's what you do. You care about the people that you interact with. It doesn't matter if you've had a disagreement. Don't let that cloud the fact that they were still there. It might be that you're better off not being close in some situations. Like if somebody, a lot of times this happens with addiction issues. You get someone with severe addiction, it might not be, at least while they're dealing with it, you're dealing with it too. Or maybe sometimes, sadly, even though you get along well, you put the two of you together and it becomes back to that addiction. That happens far too often. It's one of those really tough situations I've dealt with back when I was a counselor. You didn't want people to have to give those people up that they cared about, but sometimes those two people just couldn't. They could both do well on their own, but as long as they were together, they would fall back into the same rut and do the same thing over again. And that's not a positive situation, but it doesn't mean that those people can't reach out and say, "Hey, how you doing?" every once in a while. Have you been doing okay? Check in, but maybe not become super involved if it's one of those situations that might be detrimental to you, especially when you're dealing with a lot of times it's someone dealing with their family, trying to become a better part of their family because they hurt them, and having the other person around that was either a friend or a close relative that they just couldn't be around. So there are choices you have to make. They're sometimes hard, but live in the moment to not push them away to the point where you can't at least acknowledge they exist, because that can hurt both of you. Another way to be positive in the moment. Yeah. I had a blue screen of death, still dealing with internet problems. Country life. Sorry about that, John. It does suck having poor internet. And I thought I was gonna Saturday's show. It stormed during the day here Saturday. Bad thunderstorm. I thought for sure I was gonna not be able to be on Saturday night. Fortunately, it cleared up before it was showtime. Cheers, one. Keep the Bill Gates. But yeah. Whatever works for you, as long as it's positive in your life. There are some people that use herbal supplements, whether be true herbal supplements or, The herbal supplements we don't always talk about. But if it works for you and it becomes a more positive thing in your life, as long as it's positive, it's when it turns negative, that's when you need to get help. If you know it is. Frank, another one. We were just talking about DIY earlier. That's why it's in the background. Daytime Frank. Some of the recipes he's come up with lately. Talking with him, learning things from him. And yes, you guys are we're way above like my level. So I learn a lot from you. The things I've learned, I implement, I keep track of, and I write down. So it looks like I'm doing better than I am. But the fact is, I just kind of, I'm keeping notes from everybody, and I'm just like combining everybody's processes and learning curve. And when it comes to DIY, and it's making me look better because of you. It's not because of me. So, hey, I'm being honest. I'm going to give you guys credit where credit is due. I haven't had a lot of terrible DIY experiences because of all you guys. And that means a lot to me. It means a real lot. Like, I've adapted some of the recipe that Larry came up with and created that recipe that my brother he got it today, so I'm going to find out today. Yeah, Brother Toonie. Yeah, I'm almost wondering if we should start calling him Father Toonie, because it almost feels like he's like, he's that person. Yeah. He's the one that makes us all happy and brings us together when we're feeling down. He's a very big link in the community, Addie is, in so many ways. Be more like Addie, I swear. If ever you're in doubt and you're looking for a direction in life, be more like Addie. Be more like Mike. Be that person that everybody wants to be around. Definitely the Godfather. Yes, there you go. That's it. It's not quite father. It's Godfather. Yes, Godfather. The real Mod Father. There we go. Yeah, the blue cup broke, so I'm stuck with the pink one. You guys notice that? Yay. It's okay. Hey, if Bogan can pull off pink, so can I. Yeah, I know. It's even better, isn't it? Godfather's pretty good. Modfather sounds better. Hold on. I can probably. Yeah. How about the Modfather? That's my favorite Modfather, actually. Maybe. With a solid silver deck. The deck costs more than a cap. It's been a while since anybody's broke out one of their battle decks, isn't it? Come to think of it. I bet it has. Speaking of, I do want to ask a question because it is an important one for me. And I don't care if it's on live, so let's do it. Addie, have you ever modified one of the Patriots? Wanted to ask because I'm debating on modifying one of those two because that airflow is so restricted. And those coils in there are a little hot. But, yeah. You guys just Adam. There's another one. You want to talk music? Did it again last night. Golf T Vapes channel over there. And you know what made me smile the most? The show was good. But when the music played at the end, it's like, yeah. That's what made it for me. That's what did it for me. And it looks like I came out of focus, so I'll fix that. There we go. That's what made me the most happy the whole show, is just listening to the music at the end. And if anybody did watch any shows this week and noticed that there's lag issues in a lot of YouTube shows, I have a feeling it was actually YouTube. So please don't hold it against the person that ran the show if you're watching it on replay and they have lag issues. Because we've seen a lot of it. I know Clown had some issues with it. Fresh had some issues with it. And then, last night wasn't lag. I'm not sure exactly what Golf T Vapes did, but he did something at the end. It created a black screen. And it was just kind of strange. But yeah, Look at that. Look at the talent in this chat right now. If anybody knows anyone in this chat, look at the talent here. You've got Addie, who's multi-talented in the industry and without and outside. You have Adam, who's multi-talented, music and his DIY at least, and I don't even know his all the other hobbies. He's actually been playing a lot more on the computer lately. I know that too. And then you got Daytime Frank as well, who, well, he obviously knows how to drive, or he wouldn't have a job anymore. And then he's also a really good mixer. Just and then you got Jake was in here. He's got, I mean, just look at any of the pictures on Instagram of the mods he's been making. It's just, or any of the woodworking he's done, woodworking, resin work. The amount, oh, there you go, Cloud Cartel. There's another one right there. He's Cloud Cartel, wire builder extraordinaire. He's been working on those guys on his channel. Him, Duchess, and Clown have been working on some pretty intricate builds. We're seeing that come back. It's like kind of like the old Twisted Messes days where they was always trying to one up everybody, and they were always trying to. They had this little friendly competition across a few people, and I'm seeing that, but they brought it into a show, so they're challenging each other, but it also makes them better coil builders. While we get to be entertained with these really awesome coil builds we see that are works of art in many cases. And I love it. I'm absolutely loving it. They're pretty good coils. Yeah, that, and your co-hosts, your two co-hosts are the ones that have given me what I think might be the breakthrough to try and finally get aliens down. I'm going to be trying it soon. This week has had no free time, but as soon as I get that set up out there in the area having a storefront, I am going to attempt it. Gonna try at first, before I get all the other stuff, is I gonna try and go look back at the one that Addie made for Nick, that little stand thing he made for Nick. I'm gonna try and see if maybe I can make one of those similar for my setup out there for now, instead of hooking it, because one of the things we talked about is putting a rail system type thing on the end for the swivels. And sorry guys, this did get a little off track, but the little swivel thing to go up and down, so you can adjust it depending on how you want to do your drill, because I guess there's some of them you have to lay down, some you have to do up, and that was a thought, but I have a window there, so I'd have to put it on like either a piece of wood that's attached, or I'm thinking just make a metal rail slot or use metal channel to do the same thing. Yeah, I'm hoping I can. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to make my own. I still don't kind of prefer other people to do that work, because if things don't go well, I'm one of those perfectionists that gets really mad at myself over something like that. So it's like, I'm never going to want to make them to the point where you guys make them, and I'm never going to want to go as far as you, because I'd be in trouble. Yeah, if I always go off track, it's what I do. Sometimes. That's the ADHD in me. I do have it. It's more controllable when I'm in a better mood, but when anyone else has that problem, the more depressed you are, the more your ADHD kicks in, and you cannot think clearly. You're just all over the place. Yeah, and also your setup is, everybody's been talking about it. So yeah, this swivel setup. But I was thinking the one that Addy has would work for me for now, the one that he sent to Nick Green. I believe something like that would be a decent setup for me for now to get started with doing aliens out there. Because I just used the multiple swivels, attached to like the back of a chair. It's not exactly the most stable method to try and make them, and especially when you have a drill like mine, that you pull it in part way and then it does that little jump, and when it does that jump, that's when I tear my fingers to shreds with wire. As soon as you kink one of those little waves and it starts to ravel, oh, It'll get your fingertips. A yuzu flavor. What's a yuzu? If you can explain that sounds pretty good. It sounds interesting. I mean, yuzu. Does anyone know what that is, other than Simon? Now I'm curious, because any flavor I believe can be made at this point. There are so many good flavorings out there, and there's so many ways to trick your taste buds into thinking there are other things. I'm sure that someone could come up with that. And if nothing else, this Saturday on Fresh's show with the last fundraiser, might be a last fundraiser, for the trucker GoFundMe, might be a good opportunity for you to get one of those made for you. At least get it made, and you might be able to get someone else to make it for you. If you don't do DIY yourself, there's a good chance that there's someone in the community be willing to make it for you with the recipe that you get made that day. Yeah, that's me. I have exactly that same problem. It is a nearly impossible, daunting task to try and stay on topic of not the topic I don't want to stay on topic with if I'm in a really hard, deep, negative state. And that happens when my son's death put me there for a very long time. Citrusy tart flavor that could be best described as a mashup of grapefruit, lemon, and mandarin. Oh, so you're talking like a... Now, would you want a fresh one? A fresh mashup of that? Or would you want a... like an ice version? Honestly, I could probably even make that one. I wouldn't be able to do mandarin. No, I'd be able to do tangerine, when it's the closest I have to a mandarin, because it's not quite the same, but it's close. But I do have grapefruit and lemon. So, now I'm kind of curious. Give me. That's the way I feel about the coils when you guys are making some of these special coils. I'm like, give me. I want them all. I'm curious. I am curious who's going to win this MTL like thing. Who's going to wind up being the one to go to? Because the MTLs, it is hard for me to find MTLs that I know they exist, but I found that they don't last as long, or they don't quite get the flavor I expect, versus just regular round wire. It's almost as good in most cases, but I know that if you get that MTL just right, it's going to bump that flavor. It's got to. There's no question in my mind. But I haven't had an MTL that's blown my mind yet. Although, in the MTL tank that Lady Liberty has, she actually used the Dutch's, was it 20, I can't remember, the 2.5s he makes. But he used them in it, and that's pretty damn freaking good in the MTL, just a single coil. It's in the Nevermore.
No.
Not Nevermore?
No, his coils are in my Rebirth.
Oh, they're in the Rebirth. I apologize. See, I was wrong. See, I was wrong. So it is round wire. So there, she still doesn't have anything but round wire in the Nevermore. Ha!
Dumb.
I'm dumb. But no, I remember putting those coils in. I just couldn't remember which one. That's right. She's using a round wire in that because we don't have a good MTL yet. Okay, so I was wrong. But that's a good thing. That's another challenge. But I know I cannot do the MTLs because I can't even manage to make a decent alien. I can do good Claptons, but tiny ones. But that's why I've done those before. But they're just simple Claptons. MTL Mohawk Freely. Are you crazy? Is that actually one of the ones they're working on? Because that's insane. But I thought, yeah, there you go. Yeah, she keeps me alive. She keeps me straight. There's so many times I get things mixed up. But I do in my defense, I spend a lot of time talking to people online, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to help people talk through things, or just distract, whatever. I do that a lot. So when it comes to details, if I focus on them, I can do it, but then I won't be as effective to help anyone because I get stuck in that thought process. I've learned better to let it out of my head, but that means I have to purposely like allow my brain to like swipe clean, and I forget details on kind of on purpose, but then I forget some of the details I don't mean to at the same time. It's a trained situation. I used to hold on to everything, and it was maddening. It was absolutely maddening. Yep, and that's what she's there for. She helps a great deal. She's behind me, and yeah, but so do you, Ern. Seen you help people. I've seen you talk to people, even when you don't think you're helpful. You are being very helpful. Hey, Bruni, that mashup does sound delicious. Addie, I'll have to look at my flavor profile stash and see whether or not that what I'd have at work. I'm thinking like you want fresh fruits, flavors. You can't really go much better than Swaggy's line. So most of those. The only one I don't have in that is that Mandarin. But I'm thinking I could figure something out. Square into it. Yeah, that's right. Addie does have that recipe for a coil. It's the ones I've seen pictures of. I'll have to try it at some point, Addie. I have to practice a lot more before I try to make my own. So, look at that. Look what you guys learned tonight just with Addie alone being in here. He's taught you two things right now: how to make a decently really good darker notes from a liquid, which is that's the tough part, getting those darker notes in an MTL. And he's got a recipe for that and how to make those, and he has a recipe in there to help you guys with one of the flavors you go in, and that's on a show that has nothing to do with either one of them. We're just talking positivity, but the positivity in that moment, living in the moment. Right here's a moment. See what that's going on, what happens. Yeah, and empathizing. When you empathize, Ern, you might feel a little of that like darkness, but you also feel the positiveness in that moment where you're helping. It doesn't get rid of it, but it makes it so you kind of feel like it was worth something. You didn't just go through all that for nothing. And that means that's a huge, huge deal. Addie is a bona fide G. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Jay has them. Clown has a set of those or two. Yeah, we gotta see what happens here. Go check them out. Check out their Discord too. Cloud Cartel's Discord over there. It's seeing some of the stuff, and they've been posting in our Discord too a lot of the pictures from what they've been doing in the coil buildings in the vapey corner, and it's just I love it. Healthy competition. Now I suggested something for next week's Mixing It Up, and I'm kind of curious on whether or not they'll go with it. I think you have coil build. I mean, everybody's doing these coil build off things. You got a coil build off and mix your own liquid and vape it, and it has to be a good liquid, and you have to do all that instead of doing just a 5-minute thing. What happened? Okay, well that was interesting. I don't know what happened there. The timer went off, but I pay for Zoom, so it doesn't make any sense. All right. Should be back and good, I hope. It said a 40-minute timer, but I have paid Zoom, so it shouldn't have a 40-minute timer. It tells me that there's a glitch going on with Zoom as well. Maybe the glitch isn't so much YouTube. Maybe it's actually Zoom causing the issues. No more trespassers. Thankfully, that was no fun last week, Derek. None at all. That was very stressful. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you for understanding, Derek. Because it was, not fun. It's that time of year here, though. We get people around here, and it's unfortunate that people are hurting for money. They do stupid things. They try to loot, and some of it is obviously, you know, addiction related. That's what we've had in the past. This year, I wonder if it might just be desperate need. It's a very big possibility. There are some people still really hurting out there, which is another reason why, a little kindness goes a long ways. Yeah, there. I gave you a few seconds of reprieve. That's what it was, Derek. Like Lady Liberty said. Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, Simon. My recipes have been lower percentages. I have found that I do not care for the higher percentage. I don't know if just because the liquids have gotten stronger. I use a lot of the new flavors, and I don't know if that's why there's low percentages. But I seldom go below 5 to 7%, unless it's specifically said I should, like some one shots, or if I'm using a kind of a one shot mixed with something else. But then we found that we backed them off, like Swaggy's one shots. We tried it at 14%, like suggested, backed it off to 5.5%, and that's where we like it. So that's a significant change. But I can't believe that, because when I try commercial liquids now, typically I don't care for most of them. And it's ones I used to absolutely love. And they're just not as good. Blueberry Lemon by Juicehead. Still a good liquid. But once you get a hold of Swaggy's Blueberry and Lemon and add a little huckleberry, it's nothing. It's not even in the same realm. The realism of the blueberry and the crispness of the lemon in that is just it's delicious. And it's so funny, because that's because things are getting better. And this is where they say, with the PMTAs, they're pretty much putting a cap on at least not instantly being able to have instant gratification for innovation in your liquids and evolution. And that's a problem when flavors evolve on a daily basis. We see something come out like Wonder Flavors, or you see VSO or one of these guys come out with a release, and their flavors are immensely better than the originals, than the older versions or someone else's versions. And it keeps getting better and better and more realistic and more pure. And yet they're trying to hold us back and tell us, no, you can't do that. And of course, sorry, adults don't like flavors. Apparently we lose our taste buds once we become adults. Sorry, guys. If you're in this group and you still like flavors, apparently we're the minority somehow, and adults aren't supposed to like flavors. Tell me that's just not a crazy thought process. And, kids will only ever get addicted to something that has a great flavor. I mean, kids will never pick up a cigarette because they taste terrible. They would never get addicted. I'm sure no one here was a kid that did that, right? No, that wouldn't happen because the flavor was terrible. You'd only touch it if it tasted like candy cane. Sorry. That's the advocacy side kicking out, but that's living in the moment, realizing, knowing that that's not true, that these things aren't reality. Take solace in the fact that you know the difference. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy your flavors. Be a kid at heart, if that's what you want to call it. And at the same time, be a responsible parent if you're a parent. At the very least, try to dissuade them from getting into something that's going to become an addiction for life. And although it is a kind of little two-sided coin, if they are going to do it and they do it, be a little bit more lenient if they go on the side of a harm reduction situation versus the other, as a parent, not as far as like legality and stuff like that. As a parent, I'd rather my child be safer, and I'd rather yours as well. But try to dissuade them from any addictive behavior, because in the end, it is addiction. And for one, it always costs money. Even if you DIY, it still costs money. versus not having an addiction. So, I mean, nicotine is addictive. We all know that, but so is caffeine. Who here has to have some form of caffeine throughout a day, or they have a horrible day? My hands up for that one. I have to have my coffee. Have to. If I don't have my coffee, I get grumpy. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this chat. Having to either have a coffee, if you're an energy drink person, which has so many more things in it. I mean, your coffee's a little bit more pure. So, yeah, most be smoking if it tastes like vape. Yeah. But the thing is, it doesn't taste like vaping, but yet these people still got addicted to it over time. They still have the addiction to cigarettes. Now, who would ever get addicted to cigarettes as a kid if taste was the factor? Because first time you ever smoke a cigarette, I don't care who you are. If it tastes good, you're a strange one. Because that first cigarette, the first one especially, does not have a good taste. Yeah, I'm a dickie with my coffee. A dick without my coffee. Yeah. Not having coffee. I mean, Legion does this thing once a week where he does this coffee show once a week. And he's still in a decent mood without coffee. But you can see at the beginning of the show where he's like, he's not awake. Not really awake. He's just barely awake enough to start that stream. By the end, you can ask him really deep questions, especially if you start talking about cameras. Forget it. And I have learned a lot about cameras because of him. So it's actually not a bad show to tune into if you have any questions about doing some actual serious camera work. Yes, you should make some coffee. That sounds like a great idea. Before Nick's stream. Speaking of, Nick's stream's on in like a little under half an hour. Tune in over there if you're willing, if you're part of the vaping community, or even if you're not, give it a try. At least get through the advocacy section and stuff. It's going to be a little bit of entertainment there, and you might learn something that you didn't know that maybe open your eyes to something if you aren't a part of the vaping community. And he's one of the more honest, more pure people that does the shows. He's not going to sugarcoat it. If there's something that's real and he agrees with it, agrees it's real, he'll let you know. He's not going to hide it. Even if it isn't beneficial to our community, it's not something we hide. Yeah, listening to someone talk about something they're passionate. Yeah. Someone, and to hold on to that passion earn for over a decade. Nick, Grim Green, over a decade to talk about it on a weekly vlog for over a decade, to be so passionate and having to repeat the same things over and over again for over a decade because, hey, guess what? They still don't listen to the same simple truths. And that's something we need to break. We need to get through to people. And the best way to do that is be nice to them and talk to them in a calm and orderly fashion. Focus on telling your story or the story of your loved ones and what you've seen people go through that did wind up getting like severe lung issues or eventually dying from lung cancer because of cigarettes. Explain that to them in detail and explain it to them in a way they can kind of feel it. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Just tell the truth. Tell them what it was like, what it felt like. Let them know your pain of seeing that or your fear of that happening to you. That's the part that tugs on their moral heartstrings and can get you through to them to make them break down their walls and open up their minds to the fact that this is why we need the safer alternative. This is why we need flavors, because it doesn't work as good without flavors. You have to be enticed to want to do it. And flavors are a big factor. Nobody wants to go back and, why would you want to taste the same thing you tasted before and have the tobacco flavor you tasted before? Granted, some people do like that. There are some people that have that mindset that they have to have that tobacco flavor. But there's also others, vast majority, that want to get away from the flavor that they associated with what they used to do, to try and sway them from going back. That way, there, if all of a sudden, say you can't get a hold of your vape, you won't go back to smoking instead, because you're more likely to try and figure something out. Whereas if they taste the same, it's kind of a little bit easier. It's like, I know it's bad for me, but I need this. And it tastes the same. Yeah, and that is a good thing. Yeah, positive energy, positive passion. And it's like there's some nights there that has anybody ever been in one of the Zooms with Jake really getting into detail about talking about his process? I become one of these people. Just watching, just listening. It's like, okay, yeah, I like that. A lot of it I didn't realize he did all by hand. Some things I actually thought he had a machine to do parts of that. No, he does 99% of everything by hand. That's even more amazing. Now, another person to watch if you want to see some intricate hand detailed stuff is Alpaca. That guy, the carvings he does and the Dremel work he does is just freaking amazing. My fingers would be so cut up, and I wouldn't have fingers. They'd be gone by now if I did what he does. It's great to see that. You see Ashton, if you catch him on one of those things when he's listening to some music but still doing some work, it's so much fun to watch. He's got this positive energy going when he makes it. And I swear that actually comes out in your products. If you have that positive energy, what you make becomes a better product. You wind up having something a little extra to it in most cases, just because you had that positive energy behind your feelings, your passion. That said, I am going to get going so everybody can make it over to the next stream. Love you all. Thank you all for being here. It was a very good night. Very good people, as always. Love you all.